I want to turn now to Borenstein. He's the founder of the Borenstein Group, founded that group in 1995, and has a lot of experience in marketing, advertising, and planning in the business communications arena. Has 18 years experience in this. Wanted to give you a little background there so people would understand your credentials and why we have you here. But on this question here, are we just spoiled now? Are shoppers spoiled to the point where even 50% doesn't sound good to us anymore? And that is really crippling a lot of these retailers. They can't get rid of this stuff, and even when they do, they can't make a lot of money at such deep discounts.
Yes, Don, I think that the real problem is that we're at basically a spiral where the trust of the consumers has been compromised, and most importantly, what is happening is the retailers are basically playing a reactive game, and as opposed to basically thinking proactively of how to reinvent their retail paradigm. The old paradigms of waiting for Christmas and Black Friday to actually catch up are not going to work anymore in 2009. And those that are not capable of actually taking what they have and reinventing their store, reinventing their online environment, especially, are going to be losers.
Well, how do you reinvent? How are they supposed to reinvent themselves in such a way? At the end of the day, isn't it just a matter of whether or not people have money to spend?
Absolutely not. I think that what's very important for strategically to understand for retailers, and this is kind of one of the things that we do is work with CEOs of companies, is really the ability to focus on three areas. One is customer loyalty, and understanding that if you keep on discounting prices, you don't necessarily get the person to come twice to your store or to your company. The second is customer experience. With the pricing of everything from iPods to TVs to clothing going down, and essentially if you can buy the same product from 3 different stores, why should I buy it from your store as opposed to somebody else's store? Why shouldn't I buy it from Amazon.com? And the answer, as the numbers are showing, is that Amazon.com actually is doing great. They actually had the best season ever. So it's about the customer experience and how well people are feeling about buying from one place over the other. So I think at the end of the game, what we're going to see is that retailers that are actually really focusing on the customer experience, making it easier to buy online, offline, wherever it is, that's going to win.
But we're not going to see that turnaround, I guess, in the matter of, like you're talking about reinventing themselves in a way. We're not going to see that turnaround in a matter of months. It's something that could even take a couple of years for them to adjust to. But let's talk about the immediate future. If things are this bad during a time, the holiday season, when many of these retailers see 50% of their sales and 50% of their gains come in, if we're so dismal now, what in the world do they have to look forward to in January, February, March, April?
I really think that it's focused on one thing, which is decide what are your priorities. Are you in it to win it? Are you in it to survive as a company? If you're in it to survive as a company, you're going to be focusing on building the customer base again and making sure that they come back to your store. So some innovations that are immediately could be implemented include, for example, bundling products together. For example, you know, for Hanukkah, we got our kids the Wii. And if the Wii didn't come with a bunch of games together, we probably would have gotten it from somewhere else. So the same applies here. So I urge retailers and I urge consumers to really kind of look at the big picture. And I think that retailers that are smart are going to be able to retain their brand and not compromise their brand by basically becoming deep discount stores, because those will go out of business. And as you said, we do expect more retailers to go out of business in the next 6 months. But they're not the ones that are actually going to have a higher price, or the ones that basically decided that price is to discount. Discount never keeps customers for longer than the pizza coupon effect.
Just that sale. Yeah.
Yes.
I hear you. Well, that is an interesting spin on things there, because everybody's expecting, and if you don't have that deep discount, people aren't buying. But you said that's not a winning formula in the retail business. Borenstein. So we appreciate your time, your expertise, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Abby, it's all yours.